Boom! What's going on, Investomaniacs? Your boy Nat Rider here, and today we're going to be doing a viewer question. We've got Horny Mahatma Gandhi, nice name, brother, asking, what are your views on the upcoming Airbnb IPO? So Airbnb did announce they are intending to IPO in 2020. They have not released their S1, so we don't have 100% concrete, up-to-date financial information, but the financial information I will provide you is the most accurate or up-to-date that we have currently. Now, the first thing I want to say is Airbnb is not a little startup anymore. It's 11 years old, and I tend to shy away from companies that are already this established for my personal investing preferences. However, if there is still enough growth, then I will go ahead and invest in companies even that are this old, and Airbnb does still have quite a bit of growth, or at least that's what the numbers are showing us currently. So first, what does Airbnb do? Most of you already know this. If you're a random dude or chick and you have a house and you happen to have an extra bedroom that's not being used in your house, you can sell out that extra bedroom, or if you have like an extra house, you can sell out the house, whatever, to other people who want to come and stay short term, or at least it's primarily intended for short term stays. The way they make money is by just taking a little portion of that fee. So they provide the platform, right? The app on which you can post your room for rent for a night, and somebody else can come and buy it up for a night, and they'll take a couple percent of that, and that's how they make their money. I like business structures like this, where they're not actually doing a whole lot themselves. They're just providing the platform on which you can do your business, and the buyer can come and buy something, and all they're doing is taking a fee. That's one of my favorite ways of a business structure, because it's relatively low risk. And it's difficult to screw up, and it's also very difficult for other competition to come in and dominate. That's the reason why we still have like super old companies like Craigslist and eBay that are still around, because they're very simple business structures. All you're doing is providing the website or the app, and everybody else is doing all the work. You're just taking that little fee. As long as the fee that you're taking isn't too large, there's really no reason or cause for you to ever be disrupted. And so I like that business structure. The company is currently bringing in over $1 billion in revenue per quarter. So this is not a baby startup anymore. These guys are making billions a year, at least on the top line, and they are reportedly EBITDA profitable since 2017. So that makes them very, very different to, say, other high-profile recent IPOs like Uber and Lyft. These guys are actually, well, they're EBITDA profitable. So they're close to being profitable. They're a heck of a lot closer than some of these other high-profile companies. Now, what's the competition? Again, this is why I like Airbnb. There's not really competition. Now, yes, we have some traditional legacy hotels that are trying to come in and compete, but the fact is they're not going to be able to compete, at least on the low end, and that's what Airbnb is designed for. It's for people who don't want to spend the money. They don't want to spend the premium to go stay in a hotel. They want to save a couple bucks, or they want something a little bit experiential, in which case they're not going to go to a hotel chain anyway. And on that end, on that front, Airbnb doesn't really have any competition. They have reached a certain threshold in their business where I don't think they're going to see competition, unlike, say, food delivery right now, where it's just an absolute, like, everybody is trying to get in on that space, or the car share riding. Again, a lot of competition there, very difficult to make money. This is a situation where Airbnb is very dominant in this space, and they can actually make money, which is one of the reasons why I like this upcoming IPO. Also, you guys know I love platforms. I'm just going to say it again. Every time it comes up, I have to say it. I love platforms, because platforms, once you get to threshold, are very difficult to destroy. Also, I like the fact that they deal more in the low end than the high end, because high end is going to fluctuate a lot more than low end, right? Whether or not you want to spend more money to stay at a nice hotel, that's going to go up and down with the economy, and there's going to be a lot more competition there. But when it comes to the low end, there's always going to be poor people, right? Now, maybe poor people are going to travel a little bit less, but people still need to travel from time to time for various occasions. And when they travel, all those poor people, they're going to want to save as much money as they can. And Airbnb is a good way to do that. So I feel that although technically technically it's discretionary, because we're dealing on the very low end and because of the structure of the business where there's not a lot of overhead for Airbnb. And this is mostly people with their own houses that don't actually have to rent out rooms, right? If you own a house and you're on Airbnb and it doesn't rent out for a couple weeks, it's not like you magically shut down the business, because there's no overhead for that business. You rent it out when you can rent it out, and you don't rent it out when you don't rent it out. So I like that. Because it's on the low end, I would consider this more actually on the necessity side, which is something we want in my investing preferences. Now, what are the challenges we have going forward? Primarily, I think the number one challenge we're going to see are legal challenges. Technically speaking, if you're renting out a room in your house, you are operating a small business, and yet none of these people have business licenses. So I think we're going to see some issues there. We've already seen some issues in New York City and Paris not wanting to allow Airbnb to come in, and I think we may see that expanding. We may see more issues with them, with regulatory bodies forcing Airbnb to force their people who are operating these businesses to have proper business licensing. So I think that can be a potential downfall in the future. But outside of that, I don't see a lot of downsides or challenges going forward. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the numbers. So our user base in July, well, here, let's just do this 2 year here. So we had 150 million users in March of 2017. And that popped up to 500 million users in March of 2019. So in a 2-year period, we're up by over threefold in users. That's an extreme amount of user growth that we're seeing still very recently. Let's see here. Let's capital raise. Our revenue, we can see from 2016 to 2017 went from 1.5 billion to 2.6 billion. That's still a couple years old. We don't have complete up-to-date information on this, but that was still really strong top line growth right there. You can see kind of back in 2014, 69% growth, over 100% growth, 67% growth, 73% growth. So at least as of 2017, those top line numbers were looking very good. And in 2017, you can also see we were EBIT positive at $93 million. We reportedly in Q1 2019 have 3.5 billion in cash, so that's absolutely fantastic, which is one of the reasons why Airbnb is considering a direct listing, because apparently they don't necessarily need to raise capital. They just want the ability for existing shareholders to sell their shares, and that's always what we want, right? We want a company that has a strong cash balance, doesn't necessarily need to raise new capital, preferably already positive, and these things are looking good for Airbnb. A couple random metrics. So we have guest arrivals going in November 2017. So actually, this is August of 2019 at 500 million. So if we kind of split the middle between June and November to around August, we're maybe around 200-ish million. So we're going from around 200-ish million to about 500 million in 2 years. And this is very recent. So again, that's a really strong growth right there. Going from December 2017 to December 2018 on New Year's Eve guest, we're seeing it's about 20-25% growth there, just that 1 year. So that's really strong. Looks like our active cities going from February 2019 to August 2019. So that's less than 1 year. We're talking about a half of a year here, and we're going from 81,000 active cities to 100,000 active cities. That's about a 25% increase in active cities in a half of a year. Again, really solid growth that we're seeing there. Let's see here. Our countries are pretty much satiated. Reported listings, February 2018, 4.5 million. going up to 6 million in March of 2019. So that's about a 33% increase in roughly 2 years. And then going from March 2019 to September 2019, going from 6 million to 7 million. So that's about 18% growth in less than a year. That's still looking pretty good. So all these numbers are looking pretty solid. Okay, and then a couple more little numbers that we have right near, just trying to give you guys what information we do have. So, and sometimes you gotta get a little bit fancy, right? So, for example, here's the Airbnb LinkedIn employee headcount. That's a little bit of a not so common way that you can try to estimate growth. And let's see here, in 2017, our employee headcount was at about 5.3 thousand. And then coming up to 2018, we're up to about 7.6 thousand. So that's about a 50% increase. Coming to 2019, we're up to 10.3K. That's about a 33% increase. And now we're up to 13.3K. So we're going, that's about a 33% increase in just the most recent 8 months. That's still a very significant increase in employee headcount that we have. Our job postings, those are also going up over time, so that's good. Google Play app rating. Oh, app rating count. So again, here we can see in 2017, this is not really working, going from 144,000 in kind of early 2017 up to 225,000 in about early 2018. So that's about a 50% increase, I think. And then going from about 225 up to about 500,000. So that's over a 100% increase going from 2018 to 2019. And we're now going from 500 to about 736 in mid-August. That's the most recent data that we have. That's about a 50% increase that we're having, again, just in the past 8 months. So that's a lot of growth we're still seeing in that Google Play app rating count. And then also, how satisfied are these people? Are our users happy? And here's our Airbnb Google Play app rating store rating over time, and you can see it's just going up, right? We're here down at about 4.3. It went down a little bit in kind of mid-late 2017 to about 4.2, and then we're up 4.4, 4.5, and we're now up to 4.6. So this is also a good quality indicator that people are becoming increasingly satisfied with the app. So overall, this is something I'm actually quite excited about. I do look forward to the S1 when we have kind of all the up-to-date, formal, finite kind of information. But for the time being, I think everything looks really good. And this is definitely an IPO that I will be looking at and that I may be interested, depending upon valuation, I may be interested in investing in myself. Hope you guys have a great day.